Imagine Saigon in April 1975. The streets shake with panic. Helicopters claw at the sky. Paper burns in spirals over embassy courtyards. Entire ministries disappear overnight, not from enemy fire, but from fear. Yet beneath this collapsing city, another operation unfolds. Quiet, surgical, almost invisible. A small Soviet intelligence team slips into Saigon, not to guide the final offensive, not to evacuate allies, but to locate something almost mythical. A fortune in gold bars quietly removed from the South Vietnamese treasury in the final 72 hours. A treasure nobody can prove existed. A treasure Moscow could not allow to fall into Western hands, or slip permanently into the dark. In the week before Saigon fell, South Vietnam's entire financial system went into emergency mode. Historical records show that several $100 billion worth of assets, gold bars, foreign reserves, and currency were withdrawn from the National Treasury. What's important is this. The official logs stop abruptly on April 28th. No final accounting. No receipts for where the bullion ended up. General Nguyen Van Minh, the man commanding Saigon's final defense, was present during these last financial directives. Witnesses say he urged officials to relocate valuables to prevent total economic collapse if the government attempted a last-minute negotiation. But the trucks carrying the gold did not head to the airport, where desperate evacuations were taking place. They did not appear at the port, where merchant ships waited for bribes to flee. Instead, civilians reported unmarked trucks moving inward, deeper into the city. A strange decision at a moment when everyone else was trying to escape. Among the Treasury staff assisting high-level communications was a liaison, Lan Trinh, whose role appears in scattered memos, but whose exact responsibilities remain unclear. Her disappearance after April 29th is simply one more blank space in a week full of them. For years, economic historians have noted something unusual. Soviet diplomatic cables from April 1975 mention urgent observations of financial movements in Saigon. The USSR had deep strategic interests in South Vietnam's fall. They monitored the state of South Vietnam's currency, its physical gold reserves, and whether Western intelligence agencies were attempting extraction operations. What complicates things is this. Declassified archives confirm that a small Soviet technical team arrived in Saigon on April 24th, ostensibly for agricultural assessment. The timing is extraordinary, just 6 days before the city collapsed. Their luggage, according to airport records later reviewed, contained architectural documents and pre-war city plans, not agricultural tools. Why would Moscow need those? Because for years, unverified but persistent French banking rumors suggested that South Vietnam maintained a non-declared gold reserve, separate from its official foreign exchange holdings. A financial buffer used during the war for emergency loans and political bargaining. If true, this reserve would have been invaluable and destabilizing if it fell into Western hands. Thus, the Soviets watched the treasury closely, perhaps too closely. One of Saigon's lesser-known historical features is its enormous French-built drainage system, constructed between the 1880s and 1930s. Some tunnels are large enough to stand in, a few to drive through. Maps from French Indochina archives confirm. One tunnel runs toward the Treasury District, another toward Cholon, the financial and merchant hub of the Chinese community. A third connects with a Cold War-era civil defense bunker built by the South Vietnamese government in the 1950s. This infrastructure becomes significant because of a real wartime anecdote. American air crews did report seeing nighttime movements near the Saigon Zoo during the final days, though they never identified the vehicles involved. The zoo grounds were one of the few areas with unsecured maintenance gates and direct access to large subterranean chambers. This is where speculation begins. If someone needed to hide high-value assets quickly, in a city where every airport, highway, and river exit was collapsing, the tunnels beneath the zoo would have been one of the only discrete routes left. By late evening on April 29th, Tan Son Nhut Airport was under bombardment. Saigon was unraveling. But near the Saigon Zoo, the night was strangely calm. Residents hiding in nearby apartments later reported a sight that didn't fit the chaos. A Soviet UAZ jeep parked by a botanical garden service gate. The agricultural team approached, not by force, but with keys. Whether provided by a desperate official or through knowledge of old French locks, they slipped inside. The tunnels were humid, dark, and reeking of stagnant water. But they weren't empty. In a widened flood control chamber sat 3 civilian trucks, engines cold. Their drivers had vanished, uniforms discarded nearby. One person remained, Lan Trinh, perched on the lead truck's running board, a stack of treasury ledgers on her lap, a lighter in her hand. She wasn't stealing gold. She was trying to erase it, following last-ditch orders to make the Republic's unofficial reserve disappear if the city fell. No shootout followed. Real intelligence work rarely looks cinematic. The Soviet team leader switched on a flashlight, examined the crates, unstamped bullion, likely melted during the war. He understood the moment. Within hours, North Vietnamese tanks would enter the city. Moving the gold now risked gunfire from both ARVN and advancing communist units. So the Soviets made a practical choice. Leave it. For now. They documented the chamber, mapped it against French-era engineering charts, marked distances to surface landmarks, calculated the tunnel's coordinates. Then the unexpected. They let Lan Trinh walk away. She stepped into the burning city and vanished from history. The Soviets relocked the maintenance gate and returned to their hotel, leaving the gold exactly where it lay. By May 1975, Saigon had fallen and reunification began. The Soviet team quietly departed, their report sent directly to Moscow. Vietnam's post-war economy soon collapsed into crisis. By 1977, Hanoi relied heavily on Soviet aid and began repaying in commodities and gold. In Moscow's banking archives, one curious entry stands out: a late 1970s deposit of non-standard weight gold bullion, matching estimates of the missing Saigon reserve. The implication is simple. Once the new government secured the city, Soviet advisors likely provided the tunnel coordinates. The gold was retrieved quietly, not as loot, but as a down payment for the coming decade of Soviet protection. The official reserves stayed on the books. The tunnel gold never did. The gold was never stolen. It wasn't lost. It was managed. The Soviets didn't come to rob Saigon. They came to ensure they alone understood where the real assets lay when the old government collapsed. Walk through the Saigon Zoo today, and you'll still see sealed iron grates, rusted and overgrown. Below them sits the space where a fortune once rested in the dark, waiting for the war to end, waiting for new owners.